Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
All right, everybody. This is the Information Man. Welcome to the program. I hope everybody can hear me out there. This is the first thing we need to do because we know how sometimes the streams can be on YouTube. Everybody out there, if you can hear me, just put yes in the chat room. I see you, Blood X. We got Blood X in the house. We've got the guy from Texas. We got my man, Mo Reese. Hey, brother Mo Reese, I got to get you on the show. We got to have a political discussion, brother. So got to get you on very soon. We got my man, TR Nari, that was in the house earlier. We got BB Scratching. BB Scratcher's in the house. Or maybe I thought it was her. We got Green Organic Love in the house. Thank you for being here. We got, wow, Just Being Patty's in the house. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here. I got a dynamic brother on, the brother Terrence McRae. Terrence McRae is in the house.
Absolutely.
And what I'm going to do, put some respect on his name. We got Terrence McRae in the house. This brother, and I'm going to say it to you, everybody, as I begin to release the thumbnail in a moment. This brother is dynamic. This brother has been over the hard side of the mountaintop to achieve the things that he's achieving now and connecting with people and networking and business and small business and building up people who are coming out of the prison system, trying to recapture their lives, their mind, their hearts, their spirit. And this brother has a dynamic show, and it's called The Close the Deal Show by Terrence McRae. Okay? The Close the Deal Show. And this brother has incredible guests on his show. Talks about, like I said before, he gets into business, team building. How do you build up a small business into a big business? How do you network with people? Sales. He had a show on his platform where he had a sister on there that was talking about the aspects of sales. So what I'm bringing to you all tonight, and let me release the avatar, and I thank you all for coming in as you are into the program tonight, as we definitely appreciate all your support, everybody out there. And here I am, the Information Man show, as you know me. We're going to get into a lot of discussions tonight. I brought a brother on who I think has a lot to offer. My show is about solutions. Yes, we talk about very difficult, polarizing issues. We get into cultural issues, racial issues, things that are happening in the news. We talk about how do you build a man? What are the responsibilities of a man, particularly black men? You heard me a few weeks ago, just a week or two ago, raving on these airways about the fact that black men are great fathers and that we want to be in the life of our children. And we know that the family courts have got us real jacked up. Okay. So, and I want to bring solutions. And this brother that I have on tonight is a solution, because this is a brother who at one point in time in his life, and I remember hearing him say on his own show that in 1989, where he was in 89 was not a good place to be in. Okay. This brother has come from a long way to be where he is now. And I told a lot of you know, and I've told you that I do work in the prison system in mental health, and I have dealt with brothers in there that want to change their life, who have aspirations to transform themselves from their prison background. And with that said, let me bring this brother in, Terrence McRae. Give him a nice clap, folks, as I bring him in. All right. All right. Woo, brother McRae, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Man, let me ask you something. I know you found me in the LinkedIn, and we started talking on LinkedIn, and you were telling me you wanted to talk to me a little bit about your experience coming out of the prison system. And in some ways, you gotta, as you know, Black people all our life, we've had to manipulate and do things to survive in this society, in this world. And we know that the prison system, knowing the history of it, it started to raise its naked head right after Black people came out of slavery into Reconstruction, when Black men were supposed to be free. And that's when the prison system really started to take off, because it was just another form, in the sense, of slavery, as Black men were coming out of slavery into Reconstruction. Then you had Jim Crow, and during that period of time, you had a heavy amount of Black men that were being incarcerated under those Jim Crow laws, as another way to oppress us and take and rob us of our mind and our dignity. With that said, brother, let everybody know who you are, what you've been through, if you don't mind, brother. And the floor is yours.
I really appreciate that excellent introduction. However, I do want to chime in on how you opened up in regards to not just how we met, but on the prison system alone. And
Okay.
how it correlates with slavery. And the reason being is, I think when I first got into the system was 1992. When I actually got into the prison state system, it was in 1993. And prior to me getting into the system, I can recall one of the days that I went to the library, and a guy that had already been in the system for so long asked me, why are you up in here? Why are you in the library? I said, because I need to figure out how this lawyer misrepresented me.
Right.
He said, well, that's a good start. That's a very good start, because young men like you don't try to figure out or learn what the system is designed as and how they got themselves incarcerated so they won't get themselves incarcerated back. So for me, I think the first thing that I learned about law in itself was how an older guy that had been in prison for so long explained to me. He said, what one of the first issues that occurred in slavery in order for Blacks to start being housed in the prison system was, you know how you see right now today, people hang out on corners,
Right.
in certain areas. He said, well, that's how the law loitering came about, where slaves couldn't congregate and be amongst each other just to dialogue and communicate and share information and exchange something amongst each other. So they created that into a law called, you can't loiter over here. You can't stand over here for too long. That's when I realized I needed to educate myself. So it took for me, unfortunately, to take another human being's life to understand what my sole purpose in life was. And to me, I found that troubling, because after I had been in prison for so long, I kept hearing stories and stories and stories. And I'm talking about decades of prison. I'm not talking about a few months, a few weeks, a violation. I'm talking about over 2 decades, plus 4, and some more months.
Wow.
But at that moment in time in my life, I would never have known, because of what I'd done, that it would be generational. It wouldn't just be because I'm here right now. Even when I leave this world, I will still always be remembered for something horrific. And that's not something I glorify or want other people to think that that's who my mom raised me to be, because that sure wasn't. I didn't come from a poverty-stricken story. You know, I wasn't abused. You know, I had a come from a single parent household, and my mom did the best she could. She always provided for me. She made sure I had whatever it was that I needed, but I wanted something more. And that was that father figure. I didn't have that in my life.
Stop
But
right there. Stop right there. This
Mhm.
is why I'm so glad that you said what you said. I've said to people many times on these airwaves that a lot of the brothers that I deal with in the prison system, when I'm talking to brothers, Latinos, various different races of people, one of the things that a lot of them have in common is they say that if I would have had the proper father figure in my life, there's a chance that I may not have ended up in prison. They said that, you know, some guys would tell me that the gang became my family, my mother de facto, when my mother wasn't there for me or my father wasn't there for me. And a lot of them are saying that are doing heavy time, life sentences, you know, brothers that are doing a lot of time, young men that are coming in, they're 21 years old, they may never get out of prison. They're saying, if I had only listened to the male figure in my life, or if I had a strong male figure in my life, that was on a positive level. So I see brothers in there who have a lot of regret about not having that figure that you speak of. So that's why I had to stop you, because what you're saying is resonating with me. It rings true with the guys that I deal with right now every day.
Well, see, it go deeper than that.
Go
Because
ahead, brother.
I'm the type of person where I don't play the blame game. Okay.
Okay.
And what I mean by I don't play the blame game, just
Yes.
because I didn't have a father figure in my life wasn't no excuse for me to make certain choices in my life. What I'm referring to is the fact that that led me to not understand how to process why I get angry. There
Right.
were times where I couldn't go to my mom and explain to her emotionally, because I may be mad at her and I can't
Right.
tell her I'm mad at you, so I'm acting out. So in my situation, it was more or less a guiding factor where it's a requirement if you bring a child into this world, men and women, for you to educate your child. Okay. And in educating for a young man like myself at an early age, when you picked up at 7 years old and you taken to a whole nother foreign land, and you 3,000 miles away from your habitat, in which the first 7 years of your existence is based on knowing who's who's the family, and that's your nest egg. When you can go down the street to your grandmama, but when you 3,000 miles away and you don't know nobody, it become a rebellious type of response towards certain things with the household, in the household, where that
Right.
anger and frustration is wondering, why are we over here? Why I can't go see my cousins? Why I can't go over grandma's house or grandpa's house? As a matter of fact, who is my daddy? Can I go see him? And that mindset that created that anger, that created that outlook of looking for something else. To
Right.
where if it's not nurtured and explained to over, it becomes something where I felt I needed to find something more than what I'm accustomed to, and that's just mom in the household. My mama loved me to death. She spoiled me. But at the same token, I had to reach out, because when I'm exposed to other young men who look like me and their fathers and their mothers and their household, that's what I was gravitating towards the most, because that's what I grew up seeing. That's what I grew up hearing. That's what I
Right.
grew up learning. So I became conditioned to that through 7 years. But then quickly that left, right? Because I'm around my family. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Whenever I'm going to see my family. But when I'm not around my family, what happens? Okay. I got to go somewhere else. So unfortunately for me, there's so many dynamics that transpired early in my life that built that rage inside, to where unfortunately the day came where I got caught up in LA gang life and found myself trying to be something that I really wasn't. It led me down a road in the path of self-destruction. It led me down a road where I impacted the community. It led me down a road where I impact generations of a family household, amongst his friends, amongst his co-workers, amongst so many different people, where 2 or 3 generations was built after I left, to where they heard my name,
Right.
and to some people, that's like venom in their mouth. It's disturbing. Okay. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And I don't never want to be remembered or thought of based on that. So that's how I was able to realize, I can't allow my victim life to be lived in vain, no matter what anybody says, whether they believed he deserved it or not. At the end of the day, right, it made me reflect on a lot of different things, to where all my childhood friends, they got families, they married, they got homes, okay? They got college degrees. So I had to go to school in the hard knocks. I had to rechannel my whole thought process. Okay. I had to change my way of thinking. I had to change my association, but I had to pay attention to what the hell's going on in the world. And then getting that opportunity again, I had to take more than just advantage of it. I had to humble myself. And it's ironic. I had ran into a guy who I used to facilitate groups with today at one of the biggest youth organizations right here in San Francisco called United Players. And Colin Kaepernick was coming to visit, but I had to go to another meeting. Okay. I had to go to another meeting, which is with Green Life Community. Environmental. Okay. Environmental organization that I'm a member of. So I could have, stayed just to get photos, but I had a commitment somewhere else. So when I was young, I didn't think responsibly. Okay. I didn't take accountability for my actions, because whenever I done something prior to going away, right, I didn't recorrect that behavior. See, a lot of guys don't realize that when you get caught up in something once in your life, you got to start right there working on yourself. You can't wait later down the road, because you working in mental health. They know that if you in prison, you done made multiple mistakes, but at what point did you take accountability for it?
Wow. Everybody out there, you're listening to the Information Man Show. And just as a reminder, we are live on Spreaker right now. This will be for everybody out there listening, whether it be in SoundCloud, Spotify later on, Anchor, Google Podcasts. Okay. Then we got Apple Podcasts. We got Castbox, iHeartRadio Podcast. These are some of the platforms that this particular show tonight will be heard on after the broadcast is over and I'm able to port it over. But you can listen live on Spreaker, get a radio style sound to this. I'm glad that we have with us once again Brother Terrence McRae, who is with us. This is a brother who has a fantastic show that he does. And this, once again, you can see the Close the Deal show. Check this brother out. I am going to put his link in the chat room several times to his YouTube channel. If you would like to check him out, I would say you definitely need to subscribe to the brother's channel. This brother right here is the things that I speak about. He is doing real community work. Oftentimes we get on these airwaves and we talk about things, but this brother that I have you on here ain't your garden variety regular YouTuber. This brother, not only he has a YouTube channel, but he also has his own show. And by the way, brother, that show is produced, or it's you are the CEO of that show. That show is on the public access channel in San Francisco. How is that broadcast?
That's broadcast in San Francisco. Cable Comcast on channel 29, online all over the world on channel 29 SFC TV. It's also broadcast in Los Angeles. The studio that I'll be doing in Los Angeles, it's on Pasadena Media, which is on cable. No, the cable channel out there is Spectrum Charter channel 32.
Right. Let me do a little bit of shout out. Got some good folks coming into the chat room. I see we got Carter's Eat in the chat room, Just Being Patty again. Make sure y'all check out their channels and support them. We got Craig Harper in there. George Frazier is coming in the house. A lot of good people in the chat room. Let me show some of their congratulations. Somebody must hit 1,000 views or subscribers or something like that. We got a lot of people in the chat room that are trying to grow their channels. But once again, for everyone out there listening, this is also being broadcast on Spreaker as well as YouTube, and we'll also port over to the other podcasting platforms that I'm using. And I want to say peace and love to everybody out there who is either will be listening to this in those other podcasting platforms. Thank you for listening. And those that are listening live out there in Spreaker or will be listening to the replay or on demand of this. Once again, we have my man Terrence McRae with us. This brother is dynamic. Now, when you were in prison at that time and you were beginning to transform yourself, you were beginning to develop a different perspective as to where you wanted to take your life. What was the biggest obstacles? Because I when I deal with guys, you know, a lot of them are very nervous sometimes about paroling out of prison. Some guys sometimes do things to stay in prison because they're so afraid of how society is going to treat them. And in some cases, some guys may not have family support. They may not know where they're going to live. What was some of the things that you had to deal with, whether negatively, when going back to the community, given doing time for the things that you had engaged in?
Well, for me, it's like what I tell every individual that goes before the board and after they get out. It's very simple. Food, clothing, and shelter. Bottom line. These are the most important things that every human being needs. However, along with that, one of the things that I understand the most that helped me realize what I needed to grasp quickly is technology.
Mm-hmm.
Me being concerned about how other people see me, yes, that's something that I could easily process and get through without having to worry about something like, am I going to have a roof over my head after I get out this halfway house? So I ain't got time to be fooling around or thinking that this is a slumber party, because this ain't no slumber party. This is my life. This ain't the system no more. This ain't where when they ring that bell, like a herd of cattle, it's time to go to chow or it's time to lock up and you walk around in a circle. This ain't one of those situations. I had the mindset and built it based on the group of men that I hung out with and based on the books that I've read, where I need to lay down my foundation. I put a relapse prevention plan together. I got in tune with myself. Terrence, what bother you? When you feel a certain way, are you going to hold it in? Who you going to reach out to? Who you going to talk to? Who you going to exhale how you feel? And they'll be receptive to just listen. If I want some feedback, I'll ask for it. I just need to get something off my chest. I may call my mama, but I had it already determined that I'm not finna be in a situation like this ever again where I have to ask anybody, not even my mama, for another package, for another, so I can make it to the canteen. I wasn't going to rely on nobody other than me, myself, because I said to myself, as long as I got all my faculties, I already got a mouthpiece. Okay.
Right.
And I ain't no ugly looking individual, and I'm not trying to sound conceited, but at the same token, I got 2 ears, I got a mouth, I got 2 feet, and I got 2 hands. If I got to go pick up cow manure, I'm going to be the best cow manure pick-upper in the world. I ain't going to have a problem with it, because when I first got out, the first job I had was selling Obama phones. I paid more money taking the BART to Berkeley than I got paid. 2 weeks later, I got hired by FedEx. I worked at FedEx ground on Landline 8 in San Mateo at 1070 San Mateo. Okay. And let me tell you something. Gloria is the HR supervisor there. I was her best landline worker there. I can go get a job at FedEx right now if I needed a job. I don't have that problem. Because one of the things that I had my mind set on is if I want to achieve something, right? I already believe in me. Okay. I already believe in me. I just knew the only challenges that stood in my way was me. So I even expressed that in a little book that I started writing. Some of the most valuable things that one is given at an early age, if he can remember, is from our grandparents. And if we remember those jewels, that they share with us at a young age, when we facing a great deal of anxiety or stress, and we take a few deep breaths and just reflect on what they meant by that, that's what prison done to me. When I sat in them cells and looked at them 4 gray walls, and I seeing individuals either kill themselves through suicide, sleeping with other men, catching HIV, or shooting up heroin in their arms, right? Or hanging themselves because they can't take it too much. That made me just sit back and reflect. I want what the next person want in life when I'm watching TV, right? When I'm reading these books and these magazines and I'm seeing how people are really living out here in the world. I already knew that as long as I got a roof over my head, food and clothes on my back, I ain't gonna have to ever worry about anything. Ever. Because at the end of the day, if you look at all the issues out there right now dealing with homelessness, people are not tuned within themselves. They don't know how to process them emotions within themselves. So it becomes so disturbing that they start acting out. They start believing whatever it is that's going on in their head.
Right. I actually, when you were talking about brothers, I mean, individuals in the prison system that are trying to take their life, I deal with that personally on a day-to-day basis when I'm there working in mental health. And I'm in many cases, I have talked a lot of guys out of taking their life. A lot of guys feel isolated. Of course, they are concerned about family. You have guys that talk about hearing voices and feeling tormented, seeing things, seeing shadows. Guys who can't sleep, they're stressed. They have a lot of acute symptoms, schizophrenia. They have anxiety. Sometimes when I'm dealing with guys in my group, some guys, they don't like being around a lot of people. They may have to leave the group. They may feel, hey, I don't want to sit with my back to anybody. They're feeling that anything can jump off at any time. And then at the same time, some guys, they say, you know what, I don't want to take the medications. The medications are making me feel worse. Some guys need medications and they won't. And in some cases, we've had to do things to, you're familiar with this. We got the PC 2602, or what we used to call the CAHIA, involuntary medications, when guys were either a danger to themselves or others.
That's that howl dog. You try.
Yeah.
That's that howl dog. That'll literally listen. All that will literally deteriorate that individual. Ain't no coming back from that. Once they take that stuff, they not coming back. They gone.
They gone.
Okay, and they gone. They gone.
That's why
I didn't see the hardest Crips, the hardest Bloods, the hardest Mexican Mafia, the hardest Aryan Brotherhoods. I didn't see it all. Once they got a dose of that, they didn't buckle down. Right. They couldn't even think straight. They speech is not proper. It's sad. They ruined.
Right. I everything that you just said, I deal with the same. I experience the same thing. There's sometimes they take these medications and their mind is not the same. They turn into zombies, and which is why I see a lot of guys who will get upset and they will say, I don't want that medication. And that's why I was saying, how they will put you on the involuntary medications because the court order says you got to take this. And a lot of guys fight it. They're struggling with it. And so
a lot of guys set themselves up with that too. It's a double sword.
Oh yeah, because
I admit it to you. I played the mental health game in the prison system. I played it. I manipulated it to my advantage. Okay. Right. And the mental health system manipulated people based on it being a money thing to their advantage. And the guys that end up having to take that based on the court order did it solely because they might have been trying to get out of a disciplinary infraction that penalized them to be in that type of situation. Because see, it goes back to what we both doing. We provide the information. Because when guys are in the system, they always looking for an easy way up out of a situation. Okay, we all took shortcuts in the system. I don't care who you is. You can say you religion, you can say whatever. If you can manipulate this officer to get you a transfer to an institution that provide more resources for you, you're gonna do what you got to do. Okay. Other than the fact you get an individual who go beat up somebody to go to another institution, right? Because his partner going there and he trying to get on that train ride as well. It's the same way. So it go hand in hand. It's just like when you said to me, what was the obstacles? When I got out here, the first time I had to get on the train, okay? I was blessed and fortunate enough by two significant people. One of the persons was a woman by the name of Rebecca Carter. She works for eBay, and her husband, David Cowan, he was working for a nonprofit organization called Alliance for Change. And then another woman, her name, Irma, yeah, I think that's her name, Irma. These two women picked me up. After they picked me up, right, they provided me a home kit. And then Dave and his wife took me shopping, and I had a phone and all of that. But I can recall when they came back to get me after they dropped me off in the transition house, the first day they took me out to go use a Clipper card, right? And to show me when I opened up my first account, I opened it up with a credit union. So the first two times that I had to do something physically on my own, it felt odd, and anxiety overwhelmed me when I had to put in a debit card and pay for something, and I couldn't remember my PIN code. Wow. And I got a whole bunch of people in line waiting, and I can hear another guy make a comment like, "Come on, man, what the hell's your problem?" You know? And I felt like how some of the homeless people is being looked at and looked upon. It overwhelmed me for a brief second, but I had to take a couple deep breaths just to process that emotion, just to process that, and not be like, well, don't trip and don't snap back. Because at an early age and in the system, it was always when somebody approached you, you might have taken that as a threat, as you being challenged. So ideally, I had to realize that they do this on a normal day, and I had to get used to this, okay? Because, you know, just like in the system, right? Everything is based on respect and the code. Out here, don't nobody give a damn about you. Ain't nobody worried about you, but they don't give a damn about you out here. You could be lying over there on the ground, sick, whatever your problem is. Everybody ain't gonna stop to help you. So acceptance is an obstacle that I had to overcome. You got to accept how things are. So immediately, when I had already changed my mindset, I knew that the first thing I needed to learn, which was going to be an obstacle in business, was ethics.
Ethics.
A whole new realm. This ain't the type of ethics that we live by in prison. This is the type of ethics that every business professional strives daily to succeed in order to be successful and not lose their values, in which place them in the position that they in. Because just because you doing good in your life don't mean there's not cutthroats. Because there's a whole bunch of cutthroats in the professional world.
Right.
And when you don't already not just know the language, when you haven't experienced it, you'll get played just like you was played when you was in the game. Every time.
Right. What I wanted to say to you is what you just said. For everybody out there that's listening, once again, this is the Information Man Show. You're listening to Brother Terrence McRae of the Close the Deal Show, who's on with me. Brother has had a lot of experience in the prison system, but he has transformed his life into other great things. He's giving you the real truth, because he's right. when I've everyday capacity working in the prison environment, there are guys who do play possum and play mental ill, but they're not mentally ill. They're simply manipulating the situation to their best advantage. There's guys who may use it because they want to do easy time. They might have drug debts on the yard. They may be trying to run away from the gang situation, or a variety of different things. There's guys who come in and they want to get the SSI. It's about survival and trying to survive. And Lisa Carbero, I'm so happy to see you here, sister. I thank you for the super chat. Let me go ahead and give you a thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. This Lisa, I love you, Lisa. I'm so glad to see you here. Love to see you here more. I know you got on your show, you do like a 24-hour programs on your show. But Lisa, thank you for the super chat again. I appreciate you being here and supporting what a brother is trying to do. We have a fantastic guest on, my man, Terrence McRae. This brother is dynamic, and we're going to continue this. Once again, for those of you that are listening out there on the podcast platforms, you know I have a second YouTube channel. It's called Information Man Speaks Podcast. You are listening to a live show on my YouTube channel, my first channel, Information Man Show, which I am broadcasting right now into the podcast. So those of you out there listening in the podcast world, thank you for your support as well. Getting back right now to you, brother, you're saying so many truths and pearls of wisdom right now. This is what I want to ask you. This is very important. How does one come from where you've come from, being in prison, trying to transform your life, to having, I know you were saying that you had to work on yourself. And a lot of times when I'm in discussions with other black men, we talk about how black men need to be on what's best for ourselves in terms of building ourselves up spiritually, mentally, physically, you know, getting our business together, whether it's being an entrepreneur, whatever it is. Black men need to work on ourselves and not just chase after women per se, but be about building yourself. How did you get to a point where you had this vision to say, I'm going to create a show? I'm going to go into business. I'm going to connect with different organizations and how does one come from the prison environment, which, you know, brother, the prison environment is very tribal, right? You got to be on this side. You know, you have the Southerners and Nathaniels, you have the Black Guerrilla family, you have the Bloods, you have the Crips. Everything is a little tribal. And like you said, it's based on respect, how you treat people. How does one come from out of that environment like yourself, brother, to have the kind of insight that you have right now, to do what you're doing right now with your show and all the travels that you have ventured into? How, brother?
Well, for me personally, right, I can actually say two things. One, I had changed my faith in prison. I became Muslim. So it was imperative that I understood what a Muslim was. And that required a whole lot. It was like a drill sergeant of discipline. And one of the things in Islam they teach you is humility. Okay. And right. Humility, the term that's used is called taqwa. You know, when you have self-restraint, you know, it's like if I left something on the table, or if I left something on my bunk and I came back and it was gone, you know, I'm not supposed to overreact. I'm supposed to say, okay, maybe where is my stuff? But at the same token, you know, there's a hadith, don't quote me on this, whereas whoever it was that might have taken that, right, they needed it more than you did. So the fact that I had it, I need to be able to continue to realize that I don't need to attach myself to nothing in this world, nothing. Because when it comes time for me to leave, right, I'm not bringing it with me. So the fact that when I put myself in a position to have things, I'm supposed to give it away, give it back, have enough to sustain me and enjoy it, right? But don't harbor it. So I had to learn how to develop humility. So right. Two things occurred for me after me getting out, right, was fear. I wear fear on my coat. like a coat, not on my coat, but like a coat. I wear that on me, right? Because
Yes.
I'm in a whole new environment now. The world is no longer the world like I remember it when I left, okay, in 1992. Because, see, I went on a run for 3 years and 2 months. So I got to see the world, right? An average individual, right, when I've been in prison, they never went out their hood. So
That's right.
I didn't been to the Bahamas, to the East Coast, to the West Coast, to Vancouver, BC. I done been all over the United States, and I done lived in a whole bunch of states, right? So what helped me was, and I may sound a little arrogant about this, but I grew up around bougie blacks. I grew up in West Los Angeles. So anything that I would come across, I may have seen it early on in my early years, but didn't know how to maintain it or educate myself to keep it. So inside, that's what I had to develop, these type of tools, not for a fast meal, but longevity wise, an everyday meal. Okay. So for me, I had to have positive energy. And there was a program inside prison that this beautiful human being created called the 5 Ventures. It's an entrepreneur program that taught individuals management, leadership, and character development skills. But this woman, Catherine, has so much hustle, she put it on Wall Street. She blew it up. She blew it up to the point where 65% of all Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs, knew about her program. And Sheryl Sandberg is one of her best friends. They cashing her out millions. She had to change it because she got caught up in the scandal, not for no embezzlement, but on some other stuff that I don't even want to bring up on your show, because the times has changed. The way the world is, I'll leave it as that. But it didn't stop her. So she created a new one. But through this program, right, I had already had my mindset changed. I'm going to change that CRIP to INC and make myself a corporation because I know who I am today. Whereas I was trying to be somebody else's character, and that character that they wanted me to be, right, wasn't really in me. I wasn't built like that. I didn't need to be that. Why? I was just looking for something like everybody else looking for something. Just like in slavery, we all huddle up, find out what the hell's going on, what we gonna do. Because that's how it is in the community. That's why we use certain slang terms that it could be universal. Who got the hookup? Can I get a discount? We only use those type of terms. So in the situation, just like with gangs, when you grow up in that type of culture, you are subject to be involved in it. So I wanted to be involved in the corporate world, where today I'm associated and a member of Urban Financial Service Coalition. Them all black bankers, all black investors, all financial planners. I'm their first reentry person in their organization. Okay. I've been a part of the Economic Summit. Because of me being involved in these type of organizations, I got a scholarship to Golden State University Entrepreneur Program. Okay. So I have the platform and the opportunities to make my life better, make my family situation better, but most importantly, give back to those who are coming behind me. So for me, it was already written in stone. This is what you're going to do. You're going to lay down the foundation simply. Okay. You're going to network with the people that are the best example in which you want to emulate. You set that standard in a professional world. Okay. What is it that I need to know? First of all, I need to know how to serve the people. Okay. And what I mean by how to serve the people, I don't have to just sell nothing. I'm selling me, right? I don't have to sell nothing tangible, just me. So ideally, I need a degree like a hotel management. I need to know who everybody is and how I could be of service to you and how you could be of service to me. Now I need to know how to manage all that. I got to have balance with my everyday life and not be so caught up into how the world functions and operates from an economic standpoint, but within a social one as well. But then the third thing I realize is I'm still learning technology. How many individuals you have on your show or you deal with in the system know about a PDF? The California Department of Rehabilitation don't teach men how to deal with an email. This is something that literally is foreign to someone that's been in prison for 30 years, 25 years. A PDF? They don't even know how to sign their name on that. They're not having you sign your name on a computer through electronically. Okay. So I had to learn technology.
Yes.
Right?
Let me just mention this too, and everybody in the chat room, everyone out there that will be listening to this video, and everyone out there listening in podcast world. You know, at San Quentin right now, I know you know this, brother. They're actually teaching brothers how to code.
Yes, that's true. However, I know two of the people in there. I'm out here with one of them, good friend of mine named Jason. Okay, he works for Last Mile, but at the same token, right? Ideally, it's only 2 prisons in the world. I know the other brother in New York who does the coding. I was at an event with him at Google, which Autodesk sponsored. Okay, it's only 2 prisons in the entire United States that teaches coding, and none of them is in a women's prison.
So San Quentin would be
and one in New York.
Wow. And nothing of this nature is happening. And you know that there's an increase in women being incarcerated now. They don't have this program in the women's prison whatsoever.
No. But see, a lot of times people don't fail to realize is this, right? The people who create these opportunities to tell these other people to allow these programs to come into play, right, have to go to hula hoops and make changes, but it's just another form of slavery in a different format.
Right.
It's another form, because when he comes out, he's their poster child. See, what my show is about, it's mainly about entrepreneurism. Okay. You can't make no excuse because there's the tools out here. Let me give you some simple, and this ain't even game. This is just reality. When Obama was in office, right, he created a platform for every American to take full advantage of through the SBA. He created so many resources for African Americans, especially. If you got any hustle about yourself, they're giving you the game for free. All you got to do is sign up. I just met and had a conference the same way we are having one right now, just on Monday. And I wanted to learn about e-commerce. Why? Because I've already created the Close the Deal Business Network from LA to the Bay Area. Membership is coming into effect as we speak, where people will be able to sign up. And I'm going to provide you resources and outlets to market your what? Yourself, where you can have 2 hours. If you have a following, where you'll be able to have this space like WeWorks. I have that lined up as we speak. So these type of resources that are out there and available, people are asleep on them. You can't be getting intoxicated. You can't be drinking. You can't be getting high, caught up in all this rap music and all this when all the opportunities is right here for you. You can't make an excuse. If you on social media, right, find somebody who's giving away a free webinar and it's going to provide you some gems. So what I do is I use my platform based on that for people not just formerly incarcerated, but for felony-friendly businesses. We got a cesspool of talent over here. You know who you also need to be interviewing? Okay? Because she was the first one to do not the first one to do my show, but she did my show, a woman by the name of Shelly Winter. She's the first employee. We talking about somebody that was on meth, okay? First employee, right? To ever be hired by one of the biggest Fortune 500 companies. She did Fed time.
Wow.
Okay? She did fair time. I'm talking about one of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the world. Microsoft hired her.
Wow.
Not only hired her, gave her a promotion. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And me and her in the same entrepreneur program. Me and her co-members. And because of her, if you go on my YouTube channel, you will see not only a one-on-one show that I did with her, but you will see because of her, I did my first business mixer at her job.
Let me see something now. Let me see something right now.
Okay. So this platform and these opportunities for individuals who get out of prison is different and may vary in different states. But like I was mentioning to you about ARC, okay, you seen the movie Hangovers, right?
Right.
Who you think created that? Scott Budnick produced it. Big guy. He created ARC. He put that into effect for us to have these opportunities, okay, to not just rebrand ourselves, but to learn what we have out here in the world to do better. If you know better, you do better. Because then you ain't got no excuse.
Let me ask you this question, brother, because being on YouTube, a lot of times I've been in discussions with on panels, and we have these discussions where people are talking about, the Black community, the Black, Black women this, Black man that, the Black community is achieving this and achieving that. Now you're out there, you're a businessman. What are you seeing? Are Black people, because you're saying that there's a lot of opportunities out there if people would just take advantage of the programs that are still in place. Are you seeing that Black people are taking advantage of these programs as you are educating them and making them aware, or do you think we're still sleeping at the wheel? What is it that you're seeing in your day-to-day networking? Are Black people taking advantage? Because I have a concern, and my concern, brother, is that are Black people prepared for the future and what is to come? Now, I mentioned to you before we came on tonight that, in the area is very difficult. Black people are literally disappearing in San Francisco. Oakland is becoming gentrified. People are moving further and further out. The Bay Area is a very expensive place to live. We know the ills. We know the historical ills and things that Black people have had to deal with. But in your everyday interaction out there on the grassroots level, what's really happening? What, from your vantage point, brother?
From my vantage point, I would say this. I got to plug this up real quick.
It's okay.
On the computer. Hold on. I would say mainly, I'm no expert on this. I'm new to this field. I don't have enough time out here to give you, hold on one second, to give you a definitive reply to that, because of the fact that I haven't been out here a decade to be able to say such thing. So I'm nowhere in the position to literally indicate in scope opinion on that because of that. Because just like in the stock market, right? You could look at a market for the first year and see what it does 3 years later down the line, and 5 years where it may be going, and scale it from 10 years, right? I haven't been out here 10 years. I haven't been out here 5 years. I haven't been in a professional arena, but only for 2 years and 8 months. 3 years of February of next year, 2020, will make my 3-year mark. So I can't, at that point, give you an answer that will give someone insight. But what I could say from my own experience, right? From my own personal experience, what I've learned is that we always seem to fall back into that Willie Lynch syndrome. I do know that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I do know that and that's obvious because you chimed in and said about a bunch of black men sleeping with a bunch of women. You got to understand, yeah, homosexuality is in prison, yes, without a doubt, right? But I was culture shocked when I got out here, okay, completely, especially in the black community with the high rate of homosexuality, and that is even bigger in the professional arena. That's bigger than just, you go into a homosexual, I mean, not a homosexual, but if you go into a parade and it's a gay pride parade, no matter what city you in, because they all over the world, right? That's so huge and so big that a lot of times you have to understand when an individual who was formerly incarcerated and he's now a professional, if he mentioned anything, because people tell other people to market yourself in that way because people want to know your story for you to make that transformation. And you don't know who you really dealing with. A lot of times people have an underlying motive, okay, when they want to get to know you, and you have to be very careful with how you conduct yourself. That's why I said early on, I need to know ethics, because a person can turn it on and turn it off. Because just because I'm trying to do right, don't mean a person can't just switch it up. They can switch it up. You ain't just changed overnight to where you can fully, completely heal. It's more or less, you have to make sure that when you share your story, you're sharing it for a purpose and it's meaningful, and not just sharing it just to make yourself sound good or make yourself look good. This is not a game, okay? Because you still got people that will do anything in the world to be in the position that you in, and can probably do it 10 times better than the way I'm doing it right now. They just haven't been given that opportunity. That's where their humility comes into play. So for me, when it comes to black professionals today, right, instead of just talking about it, you got to volunteer yourself, and how you going to tell somebody who got mortgage to pay, who got 2 kids in college, right, that when you need them to just get up and be there when they got to close this deal at work, okay? A lot of times, if you don't have that balance, and most importantly, for any black man, you better have a strong woman on your team. That you can't even build yourself to be who you are without a strong foundation. You need that foundation. That's the most important part of you succeeding with your spirituality. So I gravitate towards black professionals that's out here making moves who are family men.
Okay.
And if they single, you know what I'm saying? I don't really hang out with them too much. I learn from them. Because at the end of the day, I have to look at how I see myself. You a family man? You got kids? You take care of your responsibility. It's like I learned real quickly. One day I called a good friend of mine. He Muslim, but he's a family man.
Okay.
And I had something so important to say. He had to cut me off. Why? It's family time. That's a part of ethics, whether it's a weekend or work day or whatever. When you talking about family time, you got to cut that all off. You got to hold that word you wanted to say till the time is right. And I had something I had to learn. That's why I say I'm not in a position to say how we need to see if we're going in the right direction, because a lot of people are already there. Look at the people who made Tyler Perry rich. They not the ones on the block. Them Christian, family-oriented people. They love Tyler Perry. Christian base, background. And that's what I was explaining about in business. You need to know who your customer is.
Right.
So in building a strong community, right, you need to know what type of community you want to surround yourself with. Like I know an insurance company, right, is black owned, right? But one of Warren Buffett's partners is a part of that insurance company, right? And this insurance company only deal with clients that are what? That have a household, a family, right? Home, and a vehicle.
They have a certain standard, a certain level that they
Income bracket. Income
income.
bracket.
Right.
Period. So that's how I realized the way I want to deal with Black professionals. I'm dealing with the family-oriented dude. I know if I'm dealing with the dude who don't have a female, he gonna invite me to a business mixer. Why? Because he looking to come up on something. He looking to meet somebody. He's single.
Right.
So if I got my girl, you know what I'm saying, then I'm gonna go with another guy who has a girl. So my girl don't feel like anything that I'm hanging out with somebody who likes to play the field.
Right. I think it's about being equally yoked with people. I think I've said this before on here that you can't put Black people in a bag. Black people, we come from all different walks of life.
Correct.
Poor, otherwise. A lot of times when we get on, a lot of times on some of these airwaves, people will, and I say this all the time, people will take the minimum and make it the maximum, and then make the maximum make it the minimum. So if you say, for example, as we were talking about a week ago or so, if you say, well, Black men don't take care of their kids, don't care about their kids, you're going to use a small number of Black men who may be doing those type of behaviors and try to paint that broad brush on all Black men, that this is what all Black men, you can't do that.
That's not true either.
Yeah, and that's not
true at all.
But we can't paint that broad brush. And we know in this society, a lot of times when it comes to Black males, we are not portrayed, depicted in a positive manner. They always look at the negative to put judges all by, and to sort of try to define what it is to be a Black man from their perspective. And sometimes Black people, we will use narratives that come from other people who judge us in a racial manner, and as if it is the truth and the gossip. And so that's why the things that you're saying right now, I appreciate, because there are so many different walks of life of people who have so many different backgrounds. And I think it is true, brother. I think if you are a man who has a wife, you have a family, it is very dangerous for you to be running around with guys who are living the quote unquote bachelor life, and they're trying to hit everything that's walking. You put yourself in that jeopardy. You know, you're a family man. Hey, be around brothers that are about family. When I was in college, most of the brothers that I grew up in the Fillmore area. Was born in Baltimore. I knew people in the Hunters Point, Betrayal Hill. I go way back. I'm 49 years old. I go way back, all the way back to Virgos in the Fillmore area, and in the Pink Palace and all that stuff, brother. And when I was in college, I started hanging out with brothers that were wanting to be about their studies, wanting to be about trying to transform their life. And I'm telling you, that rubbed off on me. Who you hang out with, who you expose yourself to, the type of language that brothers talk, it can rub off on you, whether you're hanging out in a negative way. And hey, I had friends growing up that lived all kind of lifestyles. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there's an old saying that a wise man learns from another person's mistake, a fool learns from his own. And that's one saying. And I had a chance to really observe things that were happening to people in the community. And I said, that may not be a direction that I want to go, because I'm seeing before my very eyes, young eyes, where it can lead you. Doesn't mean I'm going to judge somebody, because look, I believe that we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We all have done something that we're not proud of, but it's like I said before, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, where you at right now, where your mindset is right now. What I want you to do, brother, with the time that we have, I want you to talk about your show, some of the organizations that you're involved with. I heard you saying on your show about there's business organizations that are working with different people across the globe, dealing with trying to help folks that are coming out of the prison system. I think I heard you talk about the homeless situation in Los Angeles, which, brother, is hitting Black men heavily. Homelessness amongst Black men that are in these situations, it's hitting us. With the organizations that you are aware of, that you are connected with, can you give us a sense of what is going on positively? Because I heard you say that you like to focus on what is positive, not just negative. So what is happening positive in these areas with the organizations that you've been connecting with?
Well, let me tell you about one particular person that has already done more strides than I could imagine.
Yes, sir.
In my first 3 years. Pay attention to this name and look this organization up. If there's anyone really listening to this and you want to learn about different organizations, always watch my show, Nonprofit Wise. But Yusef Wiley, my Muslim brother, has changed Los Angeles in understanding what reentry looks like. This man formulated self-help group in prison on the 5-yard at Avenal State Prison, and it was called the Avenal 8. Okay. And these individuals formulated a group called the Timeless Group. The Timeless Group. The Timeless Group. Look it up online, Google it. You look up Yusef Wiley. And this man has 3 transition homes in Los Angeles, California, but he has a big one strictly for the homeless. The city knows who Yusef Wiley is, the mayor office, their reentry department. This man has his curriculum, the Timeless curriculum, in 4 prisons. Okay. He created the YW Consultant. I'm one of them. He created a program for reentry that after you were released, right? He will provide a home for you to live in, to get the self-help you need, to get you the housing you're going to need afterwards through the programs that he's partnered up with. And his organization has partnered up with multiple organizations in LA. All you have to do, if you in prison, and unfortunately, if you got a cell phone and you watching this right now, send a letter to the Timeless Group. You can look it up online and Google it. Okay. This man is more impactful. The Timeless Group. This man is more impactful than me. My medium is big, but he has paid the headways. You got to understand something. Yusef was my mentor. See, he was facilitating the self-help groups, telling us, you see the chairs in these rooms, they all filled up, right? You got to get up out of that chair and take the position of where I'm at right now, because I'm going to be gone. So you have to follow behind me if you want what I want. Don't you want to be home with your family? And he made that very clear. So we're a revolving door of him. Okay. Tremendously, he has impact. Everybody in LA know who Yusef is. Wow. If you about change, okay? If you about being productive to your community. If you
wait a minute, brother. Yusef, wait a minute. I think I know.
He was on MSNBC the day he got out. He's a prodigy. He's a prodigy of one of the most powerful Muslims in this country, all over the world. Hamza Yusef. That's his prodigy.
Okay. The reason why I kind of stopped there like that, brother, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I had a chance to talk to this brother once before. Was he, let me get this correct, was he in any shape or fashion connected to brother Nipsey Hussle?
I don't know. I don't think he was. I don't know personally if he was connected to Nipsey Hussle. To the person that I know of, and I just recently met him about a month ago, was Tony Muhammad. I know he was connected to Nipsey.
The name that you're saying to me sounds sort of familiar, because there was a brother that was sort of a friend to the family, and after Nipsey Hussle untimely death, I was going to get this interview with this brother, but then the brother had to pull out because of the wishes of the family to talk about Nipsey's situation. So that's why when you said that name, and I remember this brother.
See, Yusef he's not the type of person where he wants to stick his chest out.
Okay, I get
Remember,
you.
it goes back to that humility I was telling you about.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of people, they want to be about it. He don't have to talk about it. He's in the community making a difference. He's showing everybody, right, that was in there with us, right, what he's actually doing. You can look him up on LinkedIn. Yusef Wiley. He's a motivational speaker. He's an author, right? He's a humanitarian. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a Muslim. But most importantly, right, he's God's child giving back. Literally. He's literally giving back. So when you talk about organizations, he's one of the biggest ones out there that is literally able to call on individuals, right, who was locked up with him and help contribute in making a difference in the community. See, he not going to be like the ones where he going to let you slide on a few things or, you know, think that you can straddle the fence, be over here and be over there. No, he going to protect his soul. Okay, he protecting his soul because he know what it's going to be after this. Now, ARC is another one. Scott Bugnett, the producer of the movie Hangover, he created Anti-Recidivism Coalition, right? I just became a member of it. Okay, I just became a member of it, and I love the work they're doing. Okay, I mean, love it. So when it comes to those type of nonprofit organizations, there's a woman named Darlene, right? She's not getting, and she has a nonprofit called 10 Toes In. She's not getting the recognition that all of these nonprofit organizations all over the world need to give her, right? And this woman is making headways is because she's doing it voluntarily at Avenal State Prison in Pleasanton. And you know what she's doing? Right. And Rebecca Carter is doing this as well with her husband, Dave Cowan, but she's doing something that both of these two people, right, need funding for, but need help with. And that is relationship programs. Because see, when guys get out of prison, we don't know how to really have no relationship. I thought I knew a woman. I don't know a damn thing about a woman. I'm still learning every damn day about a woman. Okay. And that's one of the biggest issues that individuals relapse on is women and drugs. Okay. So these type of organizations is the ones that people need to really make a difference in. Now, out here in San Francisco, I'm a part of too many. Okay. United Players is one of the biggest youth organizations out here in San Francisco, and Rudy Corpos, he doing so much work. I did 2 gun buyback shows. I wasn't born and raised from San Francisco, but when I got out of prison, I helped remove 600 illegal guns off the streets by putting it out there. Okay, about removing these guns because the only thing guns is made for is to kill.
That's right.
So here it is. That organization, Returning Citizens for Green Life Community, Urban Financial Service Coalition. There are so many nonprofit organizations. Larkin Street is real big in San Francisco. We're talking about helping young teenage kids that are homeless, giving them housing, food, clothes, shelter, free scholarships to go to college. Okay. Job workforce opportunities, right? So it's available. The only thing is these people got to get away from whoever they're associating with, thinking that their reality is the norm.
Right. Let me just say something, brother. I've done a lot of work myself in my years working with youth, getting young men into to college, mentoring, being a part of organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So I agree with everything that you're saying on 110%. Let me say this right here. what I'm enjoying about the things that you're saying tonight is that it's letting me know that, hey, there's people out here. When I'm on YouTube, I'm preaching this to the Dubs come home. There are people out here that are doing the work in the community. They're not just talking, but they're actually out there doing the work, and they see what's happening in our community. They see how taking and mentoring, and you could change the life of a young person if you just give a small amount of your time. A small amount of your time be a damn big difference in a child's life. And that's why I don't like hearing people talking about let the community burn, don't be a cleanup man, all this kind of nonsense. Because the bottom line is, if we don't, as men particularly, don't transform our young men in particular, then there will be no community, because we're not going to live forever. We have to be able to build for our future. A lot of people don't want to build for the future sometimes because they figure, well, I ain't going to be alive. But the reality is you are sacrificing yourself for the future of young people, of our people, and where they could be in the future. Now, let me say to some, we got another super chat in there. Sister Rosalind, thank you for the $10 super chat. Let me give you some love there.
Thank you for the super chat.
Now, what I want to do is say what's up to a few people in the chat room. You are listening to the Information Man Show that is also being podcast. We got my man Kenny in the chat room. Thank you for being here. Patty Screen Learning has come in the house. And my man Earl has been in. Oh, brother Duvian and Earl Owens. Peace to you, brother. We got Carter's Eat. Make sure y'all check out Carter's Eat. Make sure that y'all subscribe to my man Terrence McRae, his YouTube channel. This brother is the Close the Deal Show. Check him out. Check out what he's doing. He's got great things. If you like what he's saying tonight, he's not just talking. This brother is out there doing the damn thing as well. I want to thank you all for being here. Sister Carter's Eat, I want to get you on the show soon as possible. Everybody in the chat room that's come in, do me a favor. Make sure you share this video. This video will probably get more views after the fact, but definitely share. And then we got my man George Frazier in there, and my man Cugent87 was in the house. I think he's still in the chat room, but thank you for being here. Once again, share the video. Brother, with that said, what is your thoughts right now as it relates to what's happening in Los Angeles around the homelessness? And we know that there are quite a few Black men that are out there in the Los Angeles area, across this country, that are dealing with this issue. It has been a big issue for years. We know that San Francisco has had a big problem with homelessness, especially in an environment where it's so expensive to just live. What is your thoughts about the homeless situation in Los Angeles in particular as it relates to Black men? If you
I know it being a serious issue. Recently I heard, and that was actually today, that I guess LA passed a bill addressing the LA homelessness issue. I know that I'm not an expert to really elaborate on it, is because one, I'm not in that type of situation, so I don't know emotionally what that feels like. I'm fortunate enough to have a roof over my head in San Francisco and in LA. So I'm very thankful for that. What I would actually say is it's an unfortunate, sad situation with people that are living on the streets. I've had the opportunity to see some very disturbing people living on the streets, and it's sad. I know that, in my honest opinion, looking at people with their circumstances, a lot of that is mental health, an area that you are expert in, and a lot of that is because of drugs. You know, I think that if you are a woman or if you are a man trying to get out of a certain situation, there are the type of resources where you can overcome homelessness, because it's not like San Francisco. You know, some people just want to live on the streets, unfortunately. There's a small percentage of that. See, in San Francisco, the average income is $120,000. Okay, that's the
Right.
average income. Okay, if you don't make $120,000, you living below poverty.
That's right.
You're living below poverty. So, my thing is, when it comes to things that I don't really have any experience on or not qualified to speak on, I can't give you a definitive answer. I could just basically tell you from my observation, not only is it sad, it's something that will be addressed. And
Okay.
one of the things that I know that's being addressed with it in San Francisco is Sean Haynes is a good friend of mine. He's running for 2020, March 3rd, the district assembly and the 17th district assembly right here in San Francisco. And I met him not just through LinkedIn, but through mutual friends. And he reached out to me to do my show. And in doing my show, he talked about this nonprofit called Social Impact. And it's to help homeless people that are living on the streets who want to work with the opportunity to storage their property while they go to work. So when it comes to people creating opportunities and avenues for people, it's just like what we was talking about early. It's what you do on this show, provide information. So in order for that person to take money out of their pocket to really learn how to brand his nonprofit so other people can be a part of it, if they want to help in not just solving homelessness in its entirety, but addressing various areas that could be a benefit, this is a start. Because to say that every homeless person out there doesn't want to change their condition, only them can tell you up out of their own mouth, I'd rather stay on the streets, or I'd rather live in a home like you, or I'd rather have an apartment. Because I look at the homeless no different than the former prisoner, because he's homeless after his time is up when he's in a halfway house, because 9 times out of 10, he's in the worst condition as a homeless person. Why? First of all, you better not be Black and you just got out of prison and broke with no job.
That's
Who
right.
gonna let you in?
Nobody gonna let you in.
Who gonna let you in? You Black, you ain't got no job, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You ain't got no money. I don't care if it's your family member. People gonna turn your back on you. So what you gonna have? Nothing but the streets.
Right.
So for the homeless person, right? To me, a big problem with that is drugs and mental health. And people keep saying they let all them people up out of them nut houses. I said, well, that was a long time ago. Everybody on the streets is not from those situations.
You're talking about what happened when we go back in history.
Yeah,
What
they trying
happened is
to
that
say them the same people though.
Ronald Reagan was the governor of California, if I'm not mistaken. And he released a lot of people out of Napa State. I've gone there to conferences and things of that nature. Napa State Hospital in Napa, okay, where they all that good wine. And he released a lot of people out of those state facilities, and that did contribute to some of the problems that early on in the years before. But right now, what's going on is a different dynamic. But let me say this, because, I lived in San Francisco myself personally over 30 years, went to college there, San Francisco State University, went to high school there, Washington High School, the Eagles, go Eagles. And what I noticed in San Francisco in the Bay Area is that there's a lot of people that are in San Francisco that are homeless, but they're not actually from San Francisco. They're coming from other counties. And there's been cases where police officers have actually dumped people into the city from other counties. I believe personally, this is my theory, it doesn't negate the fact that there's a homeless issue, but I believe that there's other counties that are purposely dropping people into San Francisco because San Francisco is the bigger city with the bigger budget. Let them pay for this problem that we don't want to deal with. I've had people tell me about these things happening that are out there working with homeless over the years. So there's a lot of fishy things that are going on around the homeless. I do have my issues about the needle exchange program in San Francisco. I remember when that first started, and you've got needles out there in the streets that can put people at harm. There's a lot of things that are going on that I don't personally agree with in terms of public safety and everything, but it is a problem that has to be dealt with. But this has got to be the most difficult place to be homeless in a place, like you said, where you got to be making some gazillion amount of money to get proper housing in the Bay Area, and particularly mainly San Francisco. I lived in Oakland in 1997 when I was still married at that time, and I lived in the Lake Merritt area where I could literally rent a apartment for about $600. That was in 1997. You ain't gonna do that anymore, as Lake Merritt has gentrified and has changed. But let me ask you this question: what is your view before we come to a conclusion tonight? I got two things. I want to know what your view is on the whole ADOS movement. That's one question, one issue. And I want you to leave us with these pearls of wisdom, brother, because you're in business. What are the areas that you think will be beneficial for Black people to go into in terms of business right now, in terms of your networking that you've been doing? What's a good area that Black people need to really pay attention to that could actually be some benefit to us when it comes to this whole thing about networking, going to seminars for business, all these things to build up our knowledge that we need to be successful in business? So that's one question. The other question is the whole ADOS thing around the issue of reparations. What are your thoughts?
Okay. As far as your first question, I haven't had opportunity to literally educate myself on such subject matter. So I really can elaborate on that. And it would make no sense for me to talk about something I don't have no knowledge to, I'm privy about. So I can't really touch on it. I've heard about it, but I've bottled myself up into so many other areas that I haven't really sat down and processed it. You know, my girl always tell me, why don't you sit down and watch the news? You got to stay up on current events. You know what I'm saying? I found myself glued into social media too much. You know, that's my news. So I can't really answer that. But as far as the pearls and the gems, I got several of those.
Go ahead, brother.
One of the things that I will say first is, whether you started off in business or whether you getting in business, learn business ethics. One of the things that I'm going to have on the show real soon is a particular woman that is actually in my entrepreneur program. She's going to talk about email marketing, you know, and anytime you just starting off with a business, you're going to need somebody that know how to do social media, but email marketing. And the reason being is you want to be able to get a response. And people that do business already know it's a certain word and it's a certain phrase and what it is that you say that convinces them to respond back to your email, because our attention spans are so short and we like to really be selfish about our time. And I noticed that with professional people, if you're not really talking to someone who is already established, then you have to have a compelling benefit for them to take them away from their time. Because see, they can sit down for 30, 45 minutes and might not make no money. But once they go into the mindset of wanting to make some money and you want that 45 minutes or 30 minutes, you better know how to offer them that compelling benefit. So you have to be able to have a good elevator pitch. You got to know how to market it as well as brand yourself. So you need a team. You know, you want to deal with people that are smarter than you in all areas in which you don't have that trivial knowledge of. And if you befriend and make the right connections with these people, then as time progresses, right, that friendship will blossom to where you will get easy one-on-one lessons on what it is you need to know without having to go to school or pay for anything. Why? Because that friendship was developed first. Okay.
Right.
That's just the basic. But when it comes to, and I'm gonna come back to that, investment wise, let me tell you what I believe is good to invest in, and which me and my girl did, which is carrot bars. Buying into gold, because we're heading into a recession. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah,
We
it's
heading into a recession. So you definitely got to buy you some gold, okay? And cryptocurrency, that's big. In the Bitcoin, get into that immediately. But what's really finna change the whole world 25 years from now, okay, is something that no one is hip to in our community. We not even hip to it at all. And I just got up on it because of a student that I'm in the class with, and she did my show because this woman talked about something that ain't nobody in the Black community even talking about. Okay. And I'm finna throw a curveball because
Go ahead.
what I'm about to share with you, what she talked about, do your homework and find out, is anybody in our community all over the United States is talking about, and listen to this.
Go ahead, brother.
Seaweed bio, okay? Seaweed bio.
Seaweed bio.
Seaweed bio, plastic.
Seaweed bioplastic. Wow. Seaweed bioplastic.
Anybody in the Black community talking about that?
Hell, well, I would say hell no right now. I haven't heard anybody talking about that. You telling the truth here, brother.
Tell the truth.
Okay, so check this out. If you look at what's going on in the world and how we destroying it, if you go in any, and I mean any store, whether drugstore, any store we go to right now, right? And hear what I'm saying. Everything is what? Either wrapped up or compacted in plastic. We are destroying the very planet that we live on through plastic. Okay? We tearing up the ozone and we complain about the smallest little things, but we all want to look cute. We all want to have Gucci on, Louis Vuitton, all these name brand items, right? But none of that's going to matter if we don't have a place to live. Just like the homeless.
Wow.
We going to be homeless. Okay? So with this woman, you better go to my YouTube channel and peep gang what Cynthia talking about. Seaweed bioplastic. She's talking about making it in all different types of forms and growing it in our ocean waters. But if we keep polluting the water, how we gonna grow it?
Wow, you know what, brother? You're gonna have to hit me to connect me with her so I can get her on here. Seaweed bioplastic. I'm gonna be doing as soon as we can come to a conclusion, brother. You're gonna have me doing some research into what you hip. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not seen or heard any Black folks, even on YouTube so far, that I've run across, or any other social media or anywhere talking about plastic. Have
Listen,
not,
brother. Listen.
plastic.
This is so big. It's like when Bill Gates created Microsoft and everybody wanted to chime in and he locked down the quarter market. He locked it down in technology, right? He created something that nobody else could patent, and it's in every computer all over the world, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, right, this woman wants to help the planet. How are we not helping our own environment? And people talking about they don't want to contribute to reentry, right? I am a part of this planet. So I want to give you what you don't know about.
Right. Well, let me be honest with you, brother. We live in a society where people want to be lulled to sleep. So when you look at, hell, I like, look, we got sports, we got entertainment. All this is to pacify us. Breads and circuses, keep us pacified, keep us away from what's really going on. So when you ask the question, who's talking about this a lot of times, and that's why I brought up the issue about are we ready for the future? A lot of Black people, we need to get into issues around science, the environment, climate change. You know, some of us may think that it's only an issue that white people get into, but it's an issue that we need to get into because we are going to be impacted by this environment change. And I don't see a lot of people talking about environmental issues. We'll spend a lot of time talking about what's wrong with Black women and Black men and all this other kind of stuff, these sort of soap opera conversations, but we don't spend, I think, enough time talking about the things that are really going to matter, such as the science, the stuff that you're talking about for the future, the Bitcoin. There are people on YouTube and other platforms that do talk about Bitcoin. There are Black people that are promoting those sort of things. But when you talk about the environment and someone like this sister that wants to give us a key to saving our environment, I don't know people that are hearing that call, because let's be honest, some people think they're going to live forever. Some people think that, it'll happen to people in third world countries or countries that are very poor, but we the United States, we're going to be fine. So it's like being passive. We're too damn passive because we're so caught up in the lifestyle that we live, our flat screen television and all our little, treats and trinkets that we have. You a very powerful issue.
Yeah, that's so true. See, the thing is the reason why a lot of Black people are now getting hip to Bitcoin and all this currency is because they're in a different income bracket. They can travel the world, and find out what's happening in the world and see the difference. Because who actually started all that, right? The Bitcoin and changing the currency. He was murdered behind that, but I don't want to go too far off in depth on it. But who really put that on the map, right?
Educate us.
Gaddafi.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me say this. Remember, it's no coincidence that Gaddafi is now dead, because he also had a proposal in which he wanted to put Africa under one currency to unite.
That's what's all that behind. But see,
he
over here in America. That's what it's all behind.
Right.
That's what it's all behind. He had already changed the game. It was already in the works. So it's still unfolding, right? They can't stop it, but they can slow it down. So they're trying to get as much as they can before it really go global. But by that time, everybody else gonna be asleep.
Right.
They can sleep. So in the reality of it all is, right, you have to educate yourself, right? They say in law, this is in law, and you are not prejudiced behind this. Ignorance is not a defense. That's law.
Right.
So there's no excuse with today's technology and seeing where we are today, right? So it's all about mainly, right? In Islam, they teach you to seek knowledge to the cradle. You have to seek knowledge. So you have to make yourself privy to this information.
Let me say this right now. I want to give a shout out to Alex Express 3. Thank you for being here. The real Aaron Collins. Let's do this, brother. Let me get you on my podcast platform. We're going to do a podcast because brother Aaron Collins, he's from he's originally from Chicago, lives in right now. He has been homeless on Skid Row himself. He has experience because he was literally homeless himself at one point in time. I'm going to do a show with you at some point in time, brother. I'll be in contact with you. We'll do a podcast about the homeless issue again. We'll do it radio style, though. And thank you for being here. Earl Owens for being here. I know, Earl Owens, you put a story. Someone put a story in the chat room about what's happening in Seattle or in Washington State. There's some bill that they passed where they're using waste and all kind of things. Look, brother Terrence, brother, you are on the money tonight. I'm going to have you come back for a second round because there's so many more things that I want to pick your brain about. I did a video once upon a time ago, what was it, maybe a year ago, where it was just a video where I broke down folks that are coming out of prison and the type of jobs that are felon friendly. I had about, 40, 60, 70. It was a whole bunch of jobs that I rattled off different. Brother, can you tell us right now, in your experience, what are the top companies right now that are the best opportunity for brothers and sisters that are coming out of the prison environment to definitely not sleep on?
Well, it's like this. I'm gonna give you two things to answer that question.
Thank
One,
you.
it's all based on your skills.
Okay.
99.99% of anybody getting out of prison, you doing labor work. The only real good job you're gonna get for a male, even for a female now, where you want to make $35 to $40 an hour, the only way you can get that is if you got a trade, and then you got to get in the union. That's not hard. So you got to get that union money to get in, right? But you can go work construction. Those are the jobs, right? But I'm gonna give you a better jewel. If you have any technology skills, and if you don't, right, you better be a good salesman and have a good outer appearance and good customer service. Go read all the principles of what a customer service representative is if you have any good typing skills. So I did a show. You ever seen the movie Wolf on Wall Street?
Yes.
You seen that? Well, I did a show with the person who the movie was created behind, Richard Bronson.
Wow.
He created a business, which is an organization. He has a company now. It's called www.70millionjobs.com. www.70millionjobs.com. The 70, right? Reach out to him and tell him Terrence McRae referred you. By now, my name should be where it says the refer box. How so? He offered me a job when I first came home after he met me at Google, right? Right. So anybody that gets out that was formerly incarcerated, right, have the opportunity, right, to get a job through his company because they are partner up, just like what I'm trying to do with my show. They affiliated with Uber. They affiliated with multiple different companies, right? But if anybody want to get a job, right, they have to evaluate what type of work they want to do.
Right.
If you've been incarcerated over 15, 20 years or so, you can go get a job at Lyft, Uber, okay? You could do DoorDash. You could do Grubhub. You could do all them delivery jobs. I worked it for Amazon for 2 years as a delivery and some change and made good money. But after a while, when you get up there in the age, I'm like you, I'm 49. I'm not a delivery type person. I'm a salesman. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a person either.
Yeah. Okay. And not so much just a desk person. I'm a people person. I like to get out and about.
Okay. Hang on.
70 million jobs.
Brother McRae, very important. Miss Patty, just being Patty, she says, can you repeat the contact, please? And
okay, that's www. Okay. That's www. The number 70 million jobs, all one word, 70millionjobs.com. And when they say refer box, say Terrence McRae referred you. Terrence McRae. Okay. And one of the things is they all over in different cities and all. Okay. So their whole thing is to ask you for your resume. They're going to determine where you see where you're suited and fit based on your resume. Because most guys, when they get out of prison, they don't know how to submit a resume. A resume is not supposed to be no more than 1 page.
Right.
Period. 1 page. But the average guy don't know that, or woman, if they did all that time. And there's certain language. See, guys seem to think that they're going to put all their accolades is fine, but they're going to put all their job experience prior to when they got locked up. And it does. This refers to people who got locked up, but it was only did 5 years as well, who only did 6 months or 2 years. What they don't really know, you're welcome, Patty. What they really don't know is this, right? And this is what I had to learn. When you talk about a job description that you did, use verb action words when you're mentioning exactly, right, the type of job that you qualified for. So don't put down 3 jobs of your job history, right? And the one you qualifying for don't show action verbs to the description of the job that you're applying for. And you don't even have a history of it. So make sure you know exactly this is the type of work you got to experience that. Because getting a job is the easiest thing I found upon my release. That was no problem. I'm just not the type of person where I was going to be working 3 or 4 jobs. I can't do it. Okay. So opportunities are here. You just got to have the skills.
So let's repeat that again, brother, because this is very important. 2 things.
Okay.
You said opportunity is there.
Opportunities are here, right?
It's here.
You just got to have the skills. So this is the best thing. If you just got out of prison, right, and you were put into a halfway house, you've been blessed. You got 6 months to achieve that goal. Same way you achieved that certification or that trade or certificate when you was in prison and you had to go up the hill or you had to go to vocation to acquire that, you got to take that same stride and utilize that free idle time, collect all that GR you get, spend $100 a month because you got food, you got a roof over your head, right? So you ain't got to worry about no electric bills or none of that. Continue to collect that GR, stack that money up, put it in an account, don't touch it, and go get you some computer technology skills because they doing trades all day. I'm about to do a show.
That's right.
Okay. In LA in 2 weeks with one of the biggest grantmanship companies in LA. Okay. I'm talking about Mission Quest in LA. Yes, I'm about Mission Quest. This woman is the CEO, Teresa, Asian woman. Okay, Teresa Liu, right? This woman is given hundreds of millions of dollars by private sectors, and she determines, her organization determines and indicate where these funds is going to be allocated to other nonprofit organizations. But you know what she provides and teaches?
Go ahead, brother. Hip us to
how to write a grant to get this money.
Get that money. Yeah. You know,
she teaches people how to write a grant to get the money for the nonprofit organizations.
Right. You know, I just wanted to say, because we can't sleep on grant writing. That is so powerful. If you have the ability to write a grant, that gives you all the ability that you need to fund programs, coming up with. I think people just need to take a class on grant writing. Do anything you can to learn, because it could be a benefit. There is money. You said, like you said it, there is opportunity if you have the skills, if you have the training.
You can go to her website right now, Mission Quest.
Mission Quest. Everybody.
You can go to her website right now. She tell you the time. She got dates when her next class is coming up.
Wow.
I met this woman on LinkedIn. She reached out to me. We've been chatting ever since. I just got off a conference call with her yesterday. We're doing a show in a couple weeks.
Okay, brother Terrence, once again, Real Aaron Collins is asking you to repeat the dates. He says, give the dates, brother. Can you give the dates once again? Because folks in here really resonating with people right now listening.
Okay, give the dates on what specifically?
Yeah, Aaron Collins, can you specifically write down in the chat room exactly the dates that you're talking about for which particular program, so that I can put your message on the screen and we can read it out loud. Let me see. We got, but damn, I just man, you're putting it down right now. Now look, we can't forget this too before we end, brother. You were talking about something going on in San Francisco this weekend. Is it this weekend that you're involved in, right? Is there a conference? Remember we were talking the other night, what was it? Last night for a brief. and you were talking about is there some other seminar or program or something else that's going on in the Bay Area this weekend?
Well,
Or
in December,
okay, in December.
in December, I'm going to and what's the name of this organization? Well, Green Life, which I'm a member of, we address environmental issues in the Oakland, Richmond, dealing with the oil refining area, and we're going to do a movement with another nonprofit. I think it's called Sunrise. It's in Oakland, if I'm correct, if that's what she said. I'm not sure on the particular name, but we're going to do a cleanup movement down there in Lake Merritt and a few other areas.
Yeah, look, environmental racism is a big issue. I know there was a study done a few years ago where they were talking about high counts of breast cancer amongst African American women, particularly that lived in the areas such as Richmond, and even in, believe it or not, in what's that, Antioch, Pittsburgh, Antioch area. And I had a friend, he was in the military, and he told me that the military, you had Port Chicago out there, that the military left a lot of radiation and big drones under the ground, and you have homes out there that were built on some of this stuff. And so he said he's not surprised that you've got people coming down with sort of unusual conditions, health conditions, living in these environments where you have military presence. If you look at Hunters Point, the shipyards, the Navy left some land there, and that land has some toxins in it too. Let's look at West Oakland. I lived in Oakland myself for about 10 years. West Oakland, at one point in time, after we had that earthquake in '89, the city was given land from the military, and they wanted to build some monuments to Dr. King and some other things there on parts of West Oakland, and they found out that there was toxins in the soil there. There's certain areas that they could not, that the city was not willing to spend the money to have people come in and deal with the soil. There's a lot of fishy things that happen around issues of environmental issues as it relates to where Black people live next to these areas, which in my opinion is a big damn shame that these things are often happening in communities that we live in, and no one seems to give a damn. Now, organizations such as the organizations that you're involved with, I say hats off to them with anything that they can do to bring awareness, because as we said before, no one's talking about this. Why we're not talking about this, on a high scale, while we're not talking about on a high scale, we're going to die silently.
Okay, yeah. I did forget about one particular organization. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I did forget about one particular organization. You didn't see on the news? It's all over the internet. Matter of fact, it's all over the world. One particular organization that's one of the biggest companies in the United States hired over 21,000 felonies. Did you know that?
Wow, I didn't know that, brother. I mean, you're educating me tonight. So let's
JP Morgan. JP Morgan.
JP Morgan. So let's repeat that. How many ex-felons did they hire?
21,000.
21,000 ex-felons were hired with PJ Morgan.
JP Morgan. Chase Bank.
Chase Bank. JP. Okay. Chase Bank.
Morgan. Yeah. So to climb back on your not to climb back, excuse me, to reiterate back on the issue you were talking about, an environmental issue, not just in Hunters Points and all these other particular urban community areas. That is something that Green Life felt was very important. Formerly incarcerated men could be the ones to go back to their community and they advocate and bring to light people's attention. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of people won't be keen into someone else coming in a community they're not familiar with or look like them, let alone speak about issues that's affecting their environment and get that message across more clearly. So they felt we could be a better voice in expressing that, not so much sorrow, but expressing that empathy and understanding. I understand what you're going through. Right. And here's an not easier way to look at it, but here's a different perspective in how to look at it, because I went through it when I was inside. Why? Because a lot of times people don't know that even inside with all that medication they giving you, it created so much of a big problem. This is how the overpopulation came about, where people are now being released, back into the community. And if they're going back in the community the way they were, they going right back to polluted. So we're in an environment where you got these industrial companies coming up in here, and they're not really letting the public know what the after effects are when they put certain things out there in the omissions. So the emissions is causing what? People to catch these diseases and come down with these diagnoses, right? But people that actually started it is involved in it. See, I was almost recruited by the Bay Area Air Quality, right? And I had actually met with a lot of the Black representatives of those communities, right? And what they wanted me to do was just really be a peacemaker. Now, this is a federal government agency. We talking about the Bay Area Air Quality Management is in San Francisco, downtown in the financial district, their headquarters. This is the people that control the BART and the toll booths and all the bridges.
Right.
I was with the organization I'm with. They heard me speak and chime in on the issues after reading the subject matter and allow my spirit to speak. And once it spoke, it moved them to where they invited me to the premises, okay, and gave me a grand tour of the whole damn place and wanted me, right, to go to the one in Richmond and more other, because they was looking for me to be a good spokesperson. I got a record in the history of being a facilitator for over 10 years, but it was really to calm down the people, right? It was really to put the leaders in the community on the back burner and being able to give them back data. So this is what I've been learning in business, that you could easily, just like you was in the game, falling for anything, but not standing for something, you could sell your soul just for a paycheck.
Sell your soul. That's right.
You can sell your soul just for a paycheck. So these are the things that I recognize, but I had to learn how to choose my battles. So I just try to explain to individuals what you're going to be faced with. You your own man. You your own woman. You make your own decisions. I don't pay your bills. But I'm just going to shed light to you on something that you haven't processed yet.
Brother, let me in closing here, I want you to go ahead, everybody in the chat room, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to Brother Terrence McRae's YouTube channel.
Please do.
And I want everybody to, and this is what I'm going to be doing from time to time. I'm going to be shouting out your channel whenever I go live. There are a lot of different subject matters that I cover. Some subject matters that can be polarizing and it gets a lot of people. Certain subjects you talk about, people running in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be shouting your channel out every chance I get so that people know who you are, what you're about. Before we end, I need you, most importantly, brother, to tell everybody, if you feel comfortable, where they can find you on social media. And certainly everyone out there listening, definitely check out the brother's program. As I was saying, he has a excellent program. Let me go ahead and put this banner back up. And as I said, the Close the Deal show, that's on YouTube. But I think you got 2 YouTube channels, but the one that I was looking at was the one that was under your name, Terrence McRae. So Correct. Just go to Terrence McRae, which I put in the chat room, everybody. You can click into it, subscribe, share this video, tell other people about this video. There'll be people that'll be watching this, I'm sure, tomorrow, because it's people that live in the East Coast that are probably resting right now. And we'll check out the program tomorrow. But everybody, please share the video, subscribe to the brother's channel, give him support. With that said, brother, let everyone know where they can find you at on the various different mediums and some of maybe the projects that you got coming up, or where they may be able to find you at some program or seminar or event that's coming up, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. As the information man has already indicated, you can actually catch me on the Close the Deal show on YouTube. as well as if you live in San Francisco and you have cable Comcast, you can watch me every Monday night on Channel 29 at 8:30 p.m. Or you can watch me on Wednesdays on live shows at 6 p.m. But you can go to the online link at 29.sfc.TV, as well as you can watch me in Los Angeles, California on Pasadena Media, Spectrum Charter Channel 32. Okay, and just look up the listings and it'll show you the time and day of my actual show. One of the things that you can find me on also is Instagram. My website, you can find me under Instagram under Terrence McRae or the Close the Deal Show. It would be better if you just probably put the Close the Deal Show and then my name would come right up, because some people spell my name with an A, but it's actually with an E. And the website is up, but it's being reconstructed. It's not to my liking, and it's going to be changed. What I'm doing also is creating the Close the Deal Show business network from LA to the Bay Area. If you in LA or if you in the Bay Area, I want your business to be connected to LA. If you in LA, I want your business to be connected to the Bay Area. Why? We just a commute away. Also, I want you to be able to recognize that this membership is going to provide multiple opportunities for you to not only allow me to help you promote your show by being on the show, but I have rental space where you, if you're a small entrepreneur or if you're insurance salesperson and you're looking for a room full of people where you can educate them on your product, we'll be able to go over that and explain how you can be able to do that by becoming a member. There's going to be various different packages and opportunities on my platform where you can get your message across, as well as through my e-commerce, because all this is in the works. Within the next 2-3 weeks, I'm going to be providing free books of my own personal ups and downs of what it was, what it took for me to get started and to get in the business world. But once I got out, how I stayed focused. Okay. And I'm going to share those through my books on e-commerce, as well as connect you. I'm giving a business mixer. So if you anywhere in the Bay Area, on December 5th from 6 to 8 p.m., I'm giving a business mixer at WeWorks at 995 Market Street. Let me repeat that. 995 Market Street, December 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. If you're a WeWorks member, it's free for you. If you're not a WeWork member, it just costs $10, right? I have 5 sponsors sponsoring the event: the Military Podcast, Evolutions Travel, Farmers Insurance Travel. And if you all know who Bernard Tyson is, the CEO of Kaiser, well, his sister, Sheila Tyson, who's an insurance agent, has her own company. She's also sponsoring it. And the Close the Deal Show is sponsoring it. So we here to network. See, when you are part of the Close the Deal Show, my whole goal is to connect you with the right people, to put you in the right type of atmosphere, but most importantly, right, to help you close that deal. So this is what we about. Sharing information.
Real Aaron Collins, he lives in LA. And brother Aaron, he travels back and forth to LA. He wants to know when
Aaron
you're going
Collins, I live in LA too. I live in 2 places, San Francisco and LA. I'll be giving a business mixer there in December. And the co-sponsor of that will be Carrot Bars. So just stay tuned. We will reach out to you. You can go to my website, www.theclosethedealshow.com, and sign up under contacts to do the show, whether you in the Bay or whether you in LA. I got 2 studios in 2 locations and 2 cable networks, which you will be airing on. Okay. One of the things that I want to be able to do is connect people. I'm just a connector. Okay. I want to connect you. You tell me what it is you do, and I got a resource. So on November 7th, Aaron, you in LA, on November 7th through the 10th, okay, go to 5300 Melrose. Pembroke Tapparelli is giving a film festival. Pembroke Taparelli is giving a film festival at Raleigh Studio, November 7th through the 10th. I'm going to be on a panel. It's about race, religion, and justice. Unite Change. About race, religion, and justice. Okay? Unite Change. This is Pembroke Taparelli Film Festival, November 7th through the 10th. I'm going to be on a panel. So I hope to see you there, Aaron. Okay, Terrence McRae from the Close the Deal Show. So anybody that wants to reach out and connect with me, go to my Gmail, mcrae.sf@gmail.com. mcrae.sf@gmail.com, or my business one, The Deal 333. The Deal 333 @yahoo.com.
Okay, Brother Thomas, brother.
You all right, brother?
I'm a little tired. Let me just keep it real with you. This is what I would like you to do, Brother McRae. I want you, when you have opportunity, whether you text it to me, email it to me, or exchange it with me over LinkedIn. Every now and then, when you got these events happening, either in San Francisco or the LA area, because there's people who listen to me in the Bay Area and the LA area, or wherever you may be, just let me know so that I can plug it on the program. I can remind people, hey, this event is coming up. Brother McRae's got this event. What have you? So that I can plug these events, because there's people who listen to my program that are from the Bay, and it's just great to get another plug on it. And I'm more than willing to plug what you're doing as much as possible, because my thing is, I am about supporting anyone, and particularly any Black man who is conveying a message that is going to help transform someone's life. That is something positive. I can put myself behind something like that. Okay, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, see, let me just say this last point. Those who want to know what the Close the Deal Show is about, the Close the Deal Show is about connecting professionals with opportunities through my television platform to educate the public on business tips, concepts, and strategies.
Right.
And the only way we can do that is to find out what it is you have to offer. If you don't have to offer nothing, it's okay. You can just offer by just being a viewer. Okay. So we all can offer each other something, right? But if you have a skill in which you want to teach other people your skill, or a service in which you provide, in which you can help another company or another entrepreneur or another author or another singer, right? Or another real estate person. Are you trying to sell some property? Are you trying to cater an event? You need to come on the Close the Deal Show so we can connect you with the right people in order for you to close the right deal.
Wow. So, Brother Terrence McRae, I'm going to definitely I'm going to tell you something right now. Not to get too religious, but I'm a spiritual person. I think that for whatever reason in the universe, it was meant for you to connect with me on in link like you did, for us to talk and for us to be doing what we're doing right now. I think it was meant. Anytime I run into someone, whether it be through social media, and it turns out to be a positive exchange, it tells me that it was meant to be for us to connect, for you to connect with me, for us to connect in general. So I'm actually happy that it did happen, because I definitely, at some point in time, I want to get behind this camera and meet you in person, come out and support whatever event that you got going on. So, and we'll talk about this, brother. I got your number. We're going to talk. But whatever I can do when you are in the Bay and I'm able to come up to the Bay a little bit closer to where you are and connect with you in person, or support an event that you're having or something that you're sponsoring, I'm more than happy to do so. As I said, I will plug your program, your YouTube channel, definitely, and plug everything else that you're doing. I want to thank you because I know you're a very busy man. You got a lot of things going on, but just the fact that you gave me your time, a brother that's doing the things that you're doing, that says a lot to me, because one of the things that I like about what you just did and this opportunity you gave for me to be able to talk to you about these issues, interview you and learn about some of your experiences is that sometimes when, I just got to keep it real, sometimes when people, black folks in this case, sometimes, but anybody, when people get to a certain status in life where they're rubbing noses with all kind of people, they will begin to be so high up in the cloud that they forget where they come from. They can't even have what we call the common touch with people anymore.
Mhm.
And no matter how successful you are, brother, whatever you got going on, who you rubbing those elbows with business wise, the fact that you took the time to say, let me reach out to this brother here and do something and collaborate something with him. I appreciate that, because you could easily be like your nose in the air and all that type of stuff, right? People I'm not saying you're like that, but people become that way. They start to change who they are as they start to grow in success. But you, brother, have kept that common touch. And I wish you nothing more than continued success. Sky's the limit for what you're doing. I hope you blow up 1,000 times over personally. So thank you, brother, for being here. Anything else you want to add? Any last words you want to say, brother, for tonight?
Yes. First and foremost, information, man. Everything you said is not only touching, but one of the things that stood out the most is everything happens in divine order in the universe. And to cross your path was something that was already preordained. I just didn't know when. And if I got off the track that I was on, right, it wouldn't have never happened. So that's the purpose of being able to know that when you doing what you're supposed to be doing, you ain't got to worry about your bills being paid. They're going to get paid, because you're going to put yourself in a position to make that happen. One of the things that I enjoy the most and like doing and seeing is people smile,
Right.
So whoever was listening to this, if they was just able to just hit a little corner smile, I serve my purpose and they serve theirs too by just tuning in. See, every time they watch your show and listen to your show, right, they could be doing something else, but it's a purpose of why they watch your show, because they don't know who you out there gravitating towards and connected with in the universe and hanging out with, because you still defining what your show stand for. Information. So if you looking for some information, you can't but tune into your show. It just reminds me of somebody telling me, like an addict missing an AA meeting.
Right.
That person need to go every chance he get, because he don't know. Somebody might say something that trigger him to finally wake up.
Yeah,
doing.
I'm continuing to involve the program. Like I said, having brothers like you on who are not only talking about stuff, but you're actually doing it in real life, real tangible stuff. This to me shows that there are black men out here that are doing the damn thing, and that this narrative that is often painted about us is not the truth. And also a narrative that is painted that you can be in prison and you can't come out of prison and transform your life. You can't do anything. You can't do this in A, B, and C. You actually break all those stereotypes. You break all that mold. You can, and you made the most key statements tonight. You said there are programs and opportunities out there, but you have to have the knowledge and the whereabouts and the skills. That was the key word you said. That's right. The skills to be able to fit into certain opportunities out there. If you can't create your own opportunity, but at the same time, it is always wonderful when you can create your opportunities. To me, it sounds to me, brother, that yes, you worked, but you also are creating opportunities for yourself. And that's powerful. That is powerful. So with that said, brother, I want to thank you for being here. We're going to do this again, get you back on. I'm going to promote your channel. I'm going to shout you out. And whatever events you have coming up that I can shout out on the channel, advertise it, I'm giving it to, I'm going to do that. Both podcast and the YouTube, my other second YouTube channel. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of folks that will catch the replay of this going into this whole weekend. And those of you that are in the chat room and those of you that are listening out there, please do us a favor and share this in your social media, because many more people need to hear the message. Terrence McRae, brother, you are the truth. I thank you for being here, brother. I salute you.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
And thank you. Thank you for being here tonight with me. We'll do it again. Everybody, that was Brother McRae was with us tonight. Let me pull over here and let everybody know. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being here. Brother Terrence McRae was on tonight. You got to check out the show that he's got going on over there. Let me put that back up and let y'all see the name of that show. It is on YouTube. I did put the links in the chat room. Let me do it again. If you do not have it, I will put it out there. I want to thank everybody in the chat room that's here. Everybody that you enjoy the program, give us some feedback in the comment section of this video. Give us some feedback in the chat room. Everybody out there that'll be listening in those different platforms that I'm a part of, give us feedback, whether you're listening on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart Radio Podcasts. What's that? We got Castbox. Okay, we got Spreaker. All these different platforms. If you're listening out there or will be listening, give me a comment as to what your thoughts were about the program. Brother Terrence McRae, he put some wisdom on it tonight. He broke it down 100%. Everybody seemed to enjoy. Let me get some feedback here from what folks are saying here. Let's see. And Real Aaron Collins, we're going to do the show about the homeless situation in LA in particular, because I know that you have some expertise in the area of what is happening in that area. And Real Aaron Collins is into films. He's a film directing and writing. He says film is right up the alley, and I know exactly where O'Reilly Studios is. I am so there, my brother Terrence McRae. So he's going to be there, brother McRae. He's going to come check out the event. We got Earl Owens in the house. I'm surprised you got power in California with PG&E. Yeah, PG&E, they talking about breaking PG&E up. It's a lot of weird things going on, and there's a lot of weird things going on with YouTube and these damn notifications, because I know people are not getting the notifications that they should be getting for my show tonight. There's something fully going on again with YouTube and the notifications.
Who are you calling at 11 o'clock?
I ain't calling nobody. I'm still on there listening.
I've been.
So the brother is having a personal conversation there with the significant other. I'm going to mute that because that is the personal conversation right there. So everybody, once again, thank you for being here. I thank you again. Let me see. I'm going to read some more. Let me see. So Aaron Owens, Miss Patty, Aaron Collins. We have Brother George Frazier. Oh, let me go with my man Scorpion. Wait a minute now. Brother Scorpion is in the house. Damn, brother. I need everybody in the chat room to check that brother's channel out. Subscribe to that brother Scorpion. Check that brother out. Scorpion X1X. Good brother. He's got it going on. Check him out and make sure, like your life depends on it, that you subscribe to Brother Terrence McRae's channel. Check him out 100%. You got to do it. You got to do it. And with that said, I'm going to get ready to lunch off. I appreciate you all being here once more again. Peace and love to you, everybody.
Information is power.
Information Man Podcast, an Information Man Show.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man. The Information Man Show. The Information Man Podcast. I want to say peace and love to Alabama's finest. Sister, thank you for coming in the house again. Earl Owens, Just Being Patty, Real Aaron Collins, Brother Aduvian came in tonight. There was a lot of good people in the house tonight. We got Brother Scorpion X1X. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel and check him out. Peace to everybody that was in the house tonight.